Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Black Revolutionary Theater Workshops, Melanated Mondays. My name is Mieko Gavia. I'm here with Tim Craig and Jasmine Boone. We're going to be bringing you the Melanated Mondays for August. It's going to be August 16th when this thing airs. So, BRTW's mission statement. BRTW exists to disrupt any and all oppressive systems that marginalize Black people, using narrative and performance as a methodology to recenter Black people and experiences. With economic, social, educational, healthcare, housing, and political injustice facing our community, BRTW aims to tackle the issues that impact us while becoming a beacon for Black opportunity within the arts. Melanated Mondays, specifically, is a monthly writing and performance salon highlighting a different theme at the intersection of Black justice and civic engagement. This month's theme is change. Change. It's a powerful word. People have ascended to positions of power by dangling a promise of change. But what's the change that Black communities need? Reparations, climate justice, debt forgiveness, an end to redlining, all of the above. Today, we're going to get into the conversation in tonight's Melanated Monday. So you're going to be talking with me and Tim tonight about our thoughts on change. So we're going to dive into the performances. We have 3 performances for you tonight. We have Fractal by Heather Harvey, Hibakusha by myself, Mieko Gavia, and we have Carbon Footprint by Tim Craig. And then afterwards, we're going to be getting into a community conversation. So, let's see. Let's get started with the piece, and Tim's going to take it away from here.
We're going to start with the first piece. It's Fractal by Heather Harvey. Heather Harvey is BRTW's co-founder, also another talented writer. Not here this evening, but on behalf of her, she sends her lovely work. The characters are going to be played as follows. Raquel, a Black woman, played by Jasmine Boone. Lila, a white woman, played by Mieko Gavia, and I'll be doing the narration. Fractal.
So a little bit about Fractal and Hibakusha, the pieces that you're about to see. They came from our first piece that we did together called Revolution. So it was several small pieces brought together about a fictionalized revolution. In updated scripts, we added a charismatic figure behind the revolution who mainly appears in After Swarm, our other piece, which is like a sister, not really a sequel, but in the universe of this piece. So.
Thank you, Mieko. Mm-hmm. Fractal. Before the revolution, a couple watching television.
That's the guy I've been telling you about.
Lila stands nervously, then pretends to go on about her day, as usual.
Well, he's certainly charismatic.
Yeah, he gets it. He really, really gets it.
Would you like a granola bar?
I gave you his book.
Remember what Dr. Brenton said.
The one with the eye symbol on the cover.
You should eat before your morning coffee.
What did you think?
He said you need fiber in the mornings.
Fiber?
And protein. Breakfast, Kel. It's the most important meal of the day.
This isn't a normal day.
Yes, it is.
Lila, I'm going to Brooklyn tonight.
Don't be silly. It's been a tense couple of years, but I'll call Donna and Greg over and order a pizza and we'll get a phone bank going.
We can't keep trying the same things over and over. It's literally insanity.
We'll agitate to your heart's content.
How many times have we emailed those petitions?
Everyone can appreciate your passion for these causes.
And voted for the lesser evil.
But this kind of talk might scare the neighbors.
And stood outside in the freezing cold.
And it's not like your radical ideas have been exactly welcome around the water cooler.
Fuck them.
Kel, there's a line. And you don't always seem too clear on where it is, but whatever's happening in Brooklyn tonight is on the other side of it.
It's like Colton said, we can't win playing by their rules.
This whole spectacle isn't for us. These people are going to get arrested.
Yeah, that might be how it starts.
Why don't we play hooky and go away for the weekend? I'll call in sick for you and we'll drive out to the Poconos.
The revolution is practically on your doorsteps, and you want to run away to the Poconos?
Do you hear yourself? Revolution? People like my father and your boss and our neighbors will be afraid tonight. Of course, I want to run away.
People like your father and my boss and our neighbors are exactly why we're in this mess.
So now you'll do what? Run to Brooklyn and fight the man?
You could join me.
Do you remember when we bought this house together? How people stared at us?
I remember.
The eggings, and when they keyed our car?
Lila.
They hated us. And those people hate me.
They don't hate you.
They hate white people.
They hate white supremacy. So do I. So do you.
This is not the time for semantics. They are talking about violence. Real life, knives and guns, violence. And you're waxing rhapsodic about the man with his finger on the trigger.
So it's violence when it's about Black people. But whatever the cops were going to do to the kids who egged our house wasn't going to be violent?
It's not the same thing.
You're right. It's not the same thing. Because we can wash the vandalism off our house and no one will ask any questions about the nice white lady inside. But what about the scary Black one?
That's not fair.
They think I'm your fucking roommate.
We agreed that it was better to...
No, you agreed you could get away with a white girlfriend or a Black friend, and we both know why. Because we're not the same. But tonight is my chance.
Are you serious? You went to college, traveled, got married. We own a house and a fucking Subaru. There are white people who suffered more.
Fuck you.
Seriously. My family came here with nothing and built a chance for themselves and their children. They made a way. And your family did the same. And here we are, accomplished. What's actually so bad that would justify this nonsense?
Your family came here with nothing? Not a few generations of contacts established here? Not a common language? Not a family business and a family home ready-made for them? Because the last time I checked, my family's coming to America story started out without any of that shit. White people have built this country into a system that gives you so many benefits. You think it's the same thing as starting with nothing. But when there are too many Black people around, you just pull the strings and move us out of the way onto plantations, in prisons, in ghettos or graves. And then you judge us for not having the same polish when we finally get where you are. The history of Black skin in America is moving from white use to white disposal. I'm not waiting around to be thrown away. I'm going tonight to put power in Black hands.
You're going to lose.
I know.
A moment. Raquel stands and leaves. Lila stands and throws the nearest object against the wall and crumples. There's a beat. She takes out her phone.
Hey, Daddy, I need to come home.
Ends. Again, that was Fractal by Heather Harvey, with Raquel, read by Jasmine Boone, and Lila, read by Mieko Gavia. We're going to head right into Habaklasha by Mieko Gavia with the same characters. Raquel by Jasmine Boone, and Lila by Mieko Gavia. And the narration will be by myself. After the revolution has been fought and lost, Raquel sits alone on the couch in front of the TV. She stares at the screen, but her gaze is far off. She hears someone coming from off stage. She crouches down, using the couch as a hiding space, and pulls out a knife from between the cushions. Lila enters in a bathrobe, yawning. She's carrying a plate with a midnight snack.
Raquel, are you still up?
Kel jumps out, brandishing a knife. Lila jumps and drops her food.
Jesus shit!
Lila, what the fuck do you think you're doing?
I didn't realize.
You can't just sneak up on me like that.
I didn't do it on purpose.
I could have killed you.
Yeah, well, you didn't. Can you put the knife down?
She looks pointedly at the knife. Raquel shakily lowers her arms, puts down the knife. Lila begins cleaning up.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Did the plate break?
It's cracked, but it's fine.
I'll get some paper towels.
Don't worry, I've got it.
No, I made you drop it.
Babe, it's fine. Do you want some coffee cake? I'm gonna get some more coffee cake.
Lila grabs the dropped food and dish, then rushes out of the room. Raquel sighs, grabs a bottle of liquor from under the couch, sits and drinks.
I don't want any.
But you love coffee cake.
I said I don't want any.
You haven't eaten all day, Raquel.
Lila re-enters with 2 plates and a coffee cake. She tries to hand one to Raquel.
I'm not your fucking pet.
And you shouldn't be drinking.
I said I'm not your fucking pet.
Raquel bursts into tears. Lila sits there awkwardly.
I don't know why I came back here.
Because this is your home. Literally. You own half of it.
I'm putting you in danger by staying here. They're hunting us down one at a time. They're going to come for me eventually.
Raquel, you're a no-rank new recruit. The government is going after the big dogs. They're not looking for you.
Are you kidding? I wasn't a water girl in this war. I was a fucking foot soldier. I killed I don't know how many white people. It doesn't matter if they attacked me first. My bullet was the one in their heads, and the FBI will put a bullet in mine. That's if I'm not found and tortured by my comrades first as a deserter. I'm not safe anywhere. And you're not safe with me. I'm afraid they'll hurt you. We're not going back to where we were.
I know.
I don't want us to.
Me neither. This time I want to be here for you.
Okay. So what do we do now?
Do you want to watch TV?
Okay.
Lila grabs the remote and turns up the volume.
This is nice.
Raquel doesn't answer. She's facing the television, but her gaze grows through it, disassociated. Lila takes Raquel's knife and puts it in her pocket. She wraps Raquel in a blanket and goes back to watching TV. End. The next scene will be Carbon Footprint. Delaware will be played by myself, Tim Craig. Juan will be played by Jasmine Boone and Shan. And also the stage directions will be from Mieko Gavia. Carbon Footprint.
2 people posted on the block, any block, both with a pristine pair of Jordan 1s on their feet.
What's good, son?
Shit, trying to get on my Kaepernick so I can capitalize. You feel me?
I feel you.
I can see you holding it down.
Gestures toward footwear.
Just a little footwork, a little light work. You know, I'm trying to lead everybody at the darkness, you heard?
I feel you. These OG ones are the hardest thing I've seen beating down the block. But why they extra fresh though? The re-release don't come out till next month.
Life is but a dream.
I ain't mad at you.
You ain't bumming for a change. I see you.
Yeah, it's about time that my infrared scorched the earth. I got them on the re-release, so you all ready.
Yeah, I just got the black cats in the mail today. I think by 2024, I might break them out.
That'll be the year.
Bet.
I just copped the True Blues.
Yeah, the Olive 13s is sitting by my corridor right now.
Joints with the snake skin.
Bruh.
I just copped the OG Reds, and I'm loving it.
Are you good? Yeah, my Gatorades came through yesterday.
Oh, the Gatorades. I got my Concords last week, so I'm straight.
Come on, man. You know I got the Orlando Grays, the Space Jams, and the white 96s.
The Turbo Greens?
Fam.
I got the Platinum Tints.
I got the candy canes.
I just caught the Guava Ices.
The chlorophyll is sitting in my Nike cart right now.
Juan pulls out phone.
I got the Tinkers on layaway, so we right.
The tints just got added to my collection.
I got the Masters, the Bordeaux's, the Unks.
I got the Pure Monies, the Take Flights, and the Golden Harvest. You can't touch me.
I just copped the renewable bamboo lace 13s.
The renewable what now? How?
Damn. You out here in the Stone Age, Mr. Flintstone. I hope you ain't driving a car around with your unsustainable J's too. They gonna go quick.
The retro 13s with the bamboo laces?
Bamboo laces.
Bamboo laces, homie? Oh, you ain't got the bamboo 13s? Damn, brother. And you raising two youngins? You know better, you do better, bro.
Nah, man, it ain't like that.
You disturbing the peace with the polyurethane on your soles, bro?
Nah, I'm on my sustainability. Yeah, I got the cap and gowns at the crib with the industrial tips.
Word. Oh, what about the black cements with the wool straps?
Or how about the South Beach colorway with the soy cashmere?
Soy cashmere. You know how these J's on my feet got to you, huh? Wind. Straight wind, homie. Wind farms through Eco HZ, GO2 process. Get off that plantation. Ain't no carbon footprints on my footprints.
Oh, that's hard. Thank you, Mother Earth.
Feel me?
Juan in Delaware see Shan walking down the block with a fresh pair of Jordans and a bottle of water in his hand.
Yo, where'd you get that from?
What? This bottle of water? End. All right. Thank you, everybody, for this. So, Jasmine, I know you have to go, but thank you again for doing this. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much.
You're such a big talent. Thank you so much for gracing us with
all right.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Have a great evening.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. So now we're going to get into the community conversation. So I guess we'll start by introducing ourselves. So names, pronouns, locations, and how long you've been with BRTW. So I'll go first. I'm Mieko Gavia. My pronouns are she, her, like you can see on the bottom of my screen. I'm in the Bronx and I've been with BRTW since 2015. So pretty much since when they started. I came on like very shortly after their first couple of meetings.
Hi, my name is Timothy Craig. My pronouns are he, him. I'm in Brooklyn, and I had been with BRTW, I believe, since 2019. So I guess going on 3, and kind of been pushing along ever since. Happy to be here this evening.
Awesome. So let's start talking a little bit. We're going to talk about the state of Zoom theater. So Tim, what about this moment has informed your approach to work with BRTW over Melanated Mondays and to work tonight, our work tonight?
Well, I think that based on the work that we experienced tonight, a lot of things informed. I think speaking personally from Carbon Footprint, which is basically a satirical scene on how we create language about climate change and how we can continue to create language about climate change and how it can kind of interweave into our daily life, right down to our clothing, our shoes, and even our toothpaste and our deodorant. So kind of changing the idea about like what is cool and what is accepted in certain cultures and communities. And sneaker culture is like a subculture, but the language of it can be used in a way to help get people to understand and educate. And so tonight's issue being change, that's a real kind of forefront for me, is the changing of language and how we talk to each other and how our daily language can help educate each other. I think the characters of Juan in Delaware, can be found in any block in Brooklyn, the Bronx, and they're basically, two friends that are trying to move towards sustainability with their purchases. With the all around theater world, I guess I'll pull back here a little bit and say, I think since 2020, the theater community at large has been trying to navigate social and cultural change. I think some communities are really succeeding in leading, and some communities are finding it hard to be truthful with the ideologies of inclusiveness and making sure that everyone has a quote unquote seat at the table. And I think that that's something I've personally observed. I think there will be a lot of change in theater communities as far as programming goes, as far as the playwrights that are being developed, and as far as the stories that will continue to be developed. I hope that that will continue to be altered. But it seems like the theater community as a whole is having a bit of a moment right now. And I thank you, Mieko. What about yourself?
Tonight's work, I think I chose it specifically with Zoom in mind because it has few stage directions. It doesn't have a lot of stage directions. And I think in some ways it's a little easier to do Hibakusha and Fractal, which Heather wrote, on a Zoom theater medium, because you're already expected to suspend your disbelief a little bit more than if it were in a regular theater. And Lila is a white woman, but she's always been played by myself. So we've had some issues in the past with the audience understanding that Lila is a white woman rather than a Black woman or even a mixed woman. We got that response a lot. So I think that over Zoom, when you can read the stage directions and actually say, hey, this is a white woman, and you're suspending your disbelief even more because it's just a reading and it's a reading online, then it's a little bit easier to do. In general, I've been doing some Zoom theater. It's been challenging. I met Jasmine through Zoom theater, and Heather met Jasmine through Zoom theater. So that's been great. It's been great to meet new artists and work with new artists, even if they don't, live in the city. Like I've worked with artists across the country in different time zones, and we've had to navigate those challenges. And so that's been really interesting to do. But, it's something that you do and you kind of take it on the chin. I think that Zoom theater we can kind of expand the limits of regular theater. It's really nice to have family who live out of town be able to see what I do, which they haven't had a chance to do before unless they actually come to visit me. So that's nice. It's definitely nice to get to work with different actors and directors who I wouldn't normally get to work with. And then there's some interesting things going on with technology. Like, you know, our early Melanated Mondays were done in the future, I think it was called Future Stages.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Brendan Bradley. Yeah, that was really cool. I did a production of Othello, which was really brilliantly done on through the medium of Zoom and OBS. So while I prefer in-person theater and film and voiceover work, I think Zoom theater has some real potential for where it's going to go, and virtual theater in general. So we're going to talk a little bit more about the pieces specifically. So what are some of your approaches to creating your piece? So how does a BIPOC experience inform the process of change? How does your experience inform the process of change?
Well, I think you know, people of color, queer people, trans people are kind of at the forefront of change. So their ideology and their experiences has led them to be able to see what is kind of on the edge of humanity. And so therefore, they're able to see what real change looks like and what productive change is for them. I think for me personally, uh, I try to observe what works. I try to observe what has worked in the past because the change is going to be informed by the history. And then I try to, you know, see if I can put just like these two characters tonight, two characters into the future and see if like, oh, maybe in 5 years, this will be a subculture conversation and it will be a big part about sustainability. And, you know, that conversation is getting younger and younger to high school kids having, you know, AP classes about sustainability and wind farms and what that looks like. So I think for me, it's just kind of being able to observe as much as I can and try to see into the future a little bit with how conversations will go to try to inform, I guess, you know, those in power or those in power to, you know, be at the edge of change. What about yourself, Mieko?
I think that our experience has been as creators of color, well, maybe not even just as creators of color, as people of color, has been changing rapidly over the course of people of color in this country. I'm going to say people of color in this country and in other white dominated societies. We've had to deal with a lot of change since the beginning of white colonialism. And we've had to deal with a lot of very rapid change. And so I think that we are much more flexible to change because we've had to deal with it and because we're constantly fighting for positive changes in our lives. So we have to be more flexible. We have to be on our feet. We have to be willing to create and strive for change. When it comes to this specific piece, I think Hibakusha is all about what happens after a giant change. Like Hibakusha is the Japanese word for the survivors of the atomic bombs that were dropped on Japan in World War II in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And so these were people who, you know, one day they were just existing in this state of like wartime Japan. And then all of a sudden, the next day, they're in the morning, their lives changed. You know, their lives changed, their communities changed. And they themselves were changed forever after what happened. So I wanted to kind of relate that to what was going on with Raquel and Lila, like after this giant battle, after this giant war has been fought and waged, how do you get back to not even get back to where you were before, but how do you get to a new healthy relationship, because the relationship wasn't really healthy before. The way they were living was not healthy before. And now they have to not only deal with the fallout of the revolution and the world that's changed there, B, the PTSD that Raquel now has, and C, they have to deal with the fallout of that big fight they had in Fractal.
Personally.
Right. Interpersonal change. So I thought that it was a good fit for tonight because of all of those things. And because, both of them have the potential to, specifically Lila, she has the potential to be a better ally and a better partner. And that's kind of why I wrote the piece, because it was just like, what do white people need to do in order to be good allies, in order to repair relationships with people of color, specifically Black people. And also I liked Raquel and Lila, and I didn't want their story to kind of end there. So I wanted to and there was so much doom and gloom in Revolution. So I wanted to create like a quote unquote happier ending.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. So I'm like, at least they're alive and they're back together. Hey. Can't say much else, but at least they're alive and in the same house. So let's see. Given the state of politics and global crisis, what are some of the challenges that come with change? How do you hope your work addresses some of these concerns and issues?
Ooh, it's a loaded one. Well, as you know, there's a lot of things going on at the moment. The impending pandemic and so much global and social change. How do I hope my work? I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible. How do I hope my work will change? The outlook. I think the simplest way I can answer this very large question is to change how we see, to change how we hopefully think, and to alter how we feel. But it all starts with how we see. Hopefully some of the things that I work on, whether it be the paintings or tonight, the writings, just alters how we keep our perspective on things. I think our perspective is going to be directly correlated to how much change gets created. So you can kind of like lay a brick at a time and help either your neighbor change or get a new perspective, or a family member, or a coworker, or anybody in your own personal life. Change perspective by simply sitting down, having a conversation, telling a story. That's really powerful. I think over the last couple of years, we've all felt this great sense of unification because of this pandemic that is being experienced by everyone. And so that is a marquee for a possible, conversations of change, of how we can be better and do better daily, personally, and together. I guess that's the most acute way I could try to answer that question. But what about yourself, Mieko?
I think there's always a danger of, I think we're seeing now, and we've kind of seen this since Obama came into office, that there are certain types of people who do not like change, and who is in charge and into a certain type of policies that were enacted. Not saying that Obama was perfect by any means, or that he was particularly, that the changes that Obama enacted were all positive. I'm just saying that the backlash to simply a Black man being in office was immense. Regardless of like any policy he would have put out, he could have been a Republican, and the backlash to him being a Black man in office would have been intense. So I think that is one of the biggest challenges that's come with changes is this fear of backlash and reprisal from a conservative, and honestly, not even just conservative, but from a white populace that is dedicated to keeping themselves on top.
Hey,
and to
talk
keeping
about
the
it.
status quo,
Uh-huh.
which is themselves on top. So that's really one big challenge of change, political change and social change in this country. Another thing is that, you know, looking inward, the changes that have been happening along the LGBTQ spectrum in terms of rights have affected all of us. There's always something rocky that goes on with change, and there's always going to be people in your community who don't. Not all skin folk is kinfolk, you know. And the rise of, like, you even just see like Lil Nas X, like he, you know, an out gay Black performer, you know, in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people did not like it, and a lot of people are giving him shit for it. And he said that he had to start getting security after Montero came out, the song where he was like very openly, like, he came out before Montero, but Montero was like a gay anthem essentially, to like one of his past relationships. And so after Montero came out, he had to get security because people just did not like that this man was out and open in a Black space. And so you're going to face backlash like that as well, from both outside the community and within the community. And there's a potential for violence. There's a great potential for harm. There's a great potential for the one step forward, two steps back kind of thing. But there's also a potential for positive change, and to kind of better the society. Like, it's been amazing to see the outpouring of support behind him, for example. And all of these young people, these young adults and teenagers are saying, you know, you made it okay for me to be myself. Like, I feel brave now. I feel like I can be myself. I can come out. I can exist in this world as myself as an individual. So those are some of the challenges that come with change. I hope that my work in particular addresses those issues in the most honest way I know how. Like, I don't think that I'm going to be some great change maker, or like my work is going to heal society or whatever. Like, I don't think I'm that talented, and I don't know what the capacity that artists have as individuals to do that. I think that artists as a group have the capacity to do that, but I don't know if any one artist can affect change in this great, sweeping, amazing way. I think it's a collective thing. But I hope that I'm adding to the conversation. I'm hoping that I'm inspiring people to act. I'm hoping that I'm getting people to kind of think about what they're doing. And I hope that through BRTW, we're able to kind of galvanize this change through our concrete programs, like the letter writing campaign that we did, to get attorneys to support incarcerated people because of the protests, or our programming around uplifting young Black artists in their own work. So yeah, this is what I'm hoping will happen with my art and with my other work. Our last question today is there a particular step or cause you're hoping to witness? So what is one of the biggest changes that you want to see?
Ooh, Another loaded question.
If you can't say one, just say top three.
Top three. Ooh. I would have to go with number one. I mean, I think just from a person and from this country's point of view, education spectrum, more of an investment in education from top down, from grade school to grad to doctoral, in any regard. I think just kind of rethinking about it and retooling it, you know, finding really kind of figuring out what does work and how we do educate. I think, you know, we operate in a very Western sensibility when it comes to our education. So I think one of the biggest things that I'm hoping for change is how we get informed, where we get our information from. You know, what institutions are leading the way as far as collaborating and educating citizens in general. That would be one. Number two would be, you know, I guess really creating policy that works for the people from a governmental standpoint. I think policy can continue to be investigated. Again, from what I stated earlier, from learning from our history, we can kind of figure out what does work. I think that we have been really on a path and a trajectory of how we create policy in this country that is, quite frankly, you know, of the Stone Age, and should be informed by more of the everyday citizen. Should have a touch of what we look like and what we feel like as a country. So I think that policy would be my number two. And number three would be change in a day-to-day citizenship. From that means, like, from our personal experiences, you and me, Mieko, how we have a relationship with, like, our neighbor, how we have a relationship with our teacher, how we have a relationship with our coworkers. Coming from a place of, if you can kind of change how you exist and how you maneuver through your world, it can really open up. And it's kind of just like that collective conscious you were talking about with artists. It can build on and grow greater. So those would be my three things to witness. And I thank you for the question. And I'm going to give it right back to you. What are some of those things you feel like you can actually witness and vision?
I want to see, I think one concrete thing I want to see textbooks, the textbook game Get Out of Texas. Because, you know, Texas's laws on textbooks affects the rest of the country because most of the textbooks are made in Texas. So if we can get the textbook market out of Texas and either diversify it or put it in a different state with different values. Honestly, I would say just diversify the textbook market, because who knows what, you know, via gerrymandering, what's going to happen to which state at what time. Mm-hmm. But if we could diversify the textbook market, then we're going to have a more diverse, teachers will have a more diverse range of choices about what they want to teach and what they want students to learn. So if anybody has any, like, information on, like, a campaign or something like that to where we can try and affect change in that way, please hit us up. Let me know. I'm Mieko, Mieko at thebrtw.org. Like, let me know, because that would be amazing. I think that's one thing I want to see. I really want to see some real effort being made to combat the climate crisis, because right now a lot of the super developed nations are not doing shit or not doing what they could be doing. I'm specifically talking about the US and much of Western Europe. yeah, we're not anywhere near what we need to be doing in order to combat the climate crisis. And I want to see some concrete steps made to change. And I want to see some immediate action taken.
What would one of those concrete steps possibly look like?
I want to see a faster and greater consequences for oil and gas companies. I want to see us move away from using oil and gas, especially to power our homes and businesses. I think that there are other ways we can use to get power. Solar power, wind power, hydropower, like a lot of other cleaner energy ways that we can use. And I want fracking on. I want us to transition to, like, I'm a meat eater, I'm an omnivore, I love meat, but I want to see us transition to more sustainable farming practices. And that would include overhauling the way we do farming animals for meat and dairy, meat and dairy. So for me, honestly, if that means that I eat less meat, okay, that's fine. I don't care. In my early 20s, I wasn't a big meat eater anyway, so I can live with that. But particularly in this country, I know other countries, it's meat is more of a staple food, and I want to be culturally sensitive to that because, in other countries, it's more difficult to grow produce. So people rely on meat for their protein sources and for their sustenance. And that's completely fine. But these are not the countries that are doing the most damage. The most damage is being done by countries where we can change things and we can vary our diets and we can change the way that we farm animals. So that's another thing I want to see. And then I guess the third thing that I want to see is, it's hard to pick, but I think the third thing I want to see is, along the lines you're talking about, overhauling the way we legislate. I think I want to see dirty money get out of politics, because special interest groups and lobbyers and all that stuff who give money to people, they just really screw everything up. So I want to get that out.
That's a really good one.
Yeah. So just finishing up. Is there anything you want to plug? Like anything you want to plug that's related to this conversation?
I do want to plug at this moment. Black Revolutionary Media has a podcast right now. It's on Spotify, Audible, most places where you can receive podcasts right now. Kind of as you mentioned, it is from the Original Revolution Now cohort, and there are these 5 lovely, talented writers, and also ourselves that are in this podcast. And there are some of the most nuanced audio dramas that I've heard in a long time. So I'm really proud of it, and I would love for everyone to go give a listen on the streaming devices that they so choose.
Great. I was going to plug that too, but you did it beautifully. Also check us out, thebrtw.org. Get into it. We got a lot of cool stuff coming out on the pipeline. We're going to be doing another Revolution Now cohort starting soon, so get ready for that. We have a Patreon. Hold on, let me look up our Patreon.
You take your time.
I always know it. I think it's patreon.com/thebrtw. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So there's that. You can find me personally. I'm on Twitter at Mieko Gavia, Mieko Gavia, Mieko Gavia. I'm on Facebook at miekogavia.artist. I'm on Instagram at SOOO_GROOD. So if you want to follow me and hear more of my rants and watch me share memes, you can do that. And yeah, I just hope that you really enjoyed what you saw tonight, and we'll check us out.
Yes, again, a big thank you to Jasmine. And also a big thank you to our line producer, Mary. Thank you so much for your help this week. Really, really appreciate you.
We could not do this without them.
And we'll see you guys next month for our next Melanated Monday, which is remixing of the Constitution.
All right. See you guys then.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.